my name is Felina Hansen, and I am the president of NAVO San Diego, and this is the Rising Star Panel. These four incredible women, interestingly enough, have a lot in common. They are all building platforms, various platforms, from energy to teaching to physical fitness to Reiki. Very, very incredible to see what they've accomplished with these platforms in under 2 years, and they continue to grow, flourish, and support the community.
When people migrate, most of their hard-earned skills are left underutilized because of lack of English fluency or not having the accreditation they need to continue doing what they have been doing for years and decades. They end up working multiple low-grade jobs to provide for their family, although all those great skills are still there. In Khoshalam, we believe that language should not be a limitation, rather a channel to one's untapped potential. Hi, everyone. I'm Mehran, and I created a platform, a community platform that empowers native experts to teach their classes online virtually to adults and children who are eager to learn authentic language, authentic art, and authentic culture.
My name is Sarah Mateer, and I'm the founder and CEO of Reiki of San Diego and Modern Alchemy Wellness. I am a healer and coach and trainer first and foremost, but now I've most recently begun to offer a business platform for other really gifted wellness practitioners to become full-time practitioners, full-time professional healers, so that I can help people help more people.
Hello, I am Narissa Zhang. I am the CEO and co-founder of the Bright app. We enable fitness providers to work independent of the gym so that they can run a business free of stress and friction and make more money. They're able to connect to consumers all around the world.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ria. I'm really excited to be a finalist here. And the business I started is called eWallaby. eWallaby is a consumer energy planning and recommendation platform that helps users understand their energy costs better. The idea was born out of observations that when people, for example, install solar panels or adopt an electric vehicle, their current energy provider does not provide very good information about your energy costs. And so it's really hard for people to understand their whole energy picture. And in order to have a great transition towards green energy, it's really important to get the costs right. And that's why we created eWallaby, to have really great products and tools to help people understand this and have a lot of transparency.
What have you done to build a name for yourself in the community?
That's a great question. I remember the day that I started this movement, I want to call it. A friend called me and he said, Mehran, so-and-so is in trouble. It was right a couple of weeks after the pandemic and we were in lockdown. And she said that this common friend was taking antidepressant medication. She was doing therapy and she had her 2 daughters at home, but still struggling. She was crying day and night and didn't know how to manage her stress. Now, all of us went through so much stress during the pandemic, right? I mean, we were concerned about our family's health, our own health. I want to say for immigrants, it was another layer, right? I mean, a lot of them don't have a family backbone here in case they're losing their financial support, in case something is happening to them. They don't have that. And it was very difficult for all of them. A lot of them didn't even have the governmental support. They were even supporting their families back home. So this was great stress for a lot of them. And I understood that. I contacted her and tried to help her out, but I knew this wouldn't happen. I mean, with one conversation, nothing would be changed. So what I did was that I called a few of my friends, I think it was 6 of them, and I said, would you be willing to teach our community for free? And, basically advertise your services, but also entertain and educate these people who have been stuck at home with their children for so long, and everyone agreed. So then we started that, and we started with 6 classes. It was art, calligraphy, dance, and yoga and exercise. And that bloomed. The community started growing. We had a lot of teachers joining in and trying to give their services complimentary. That was great because I heard a lot of mothers and a lot of teachers feel that, okay, in pandemic where they thought they're going to be alone, they don't feel alone anymore. And this was one side of it. The other side was the teachers that were building their businesses. So I want to say it wasn't about me. I was honored, and I'm very thankful to have been trusted with this, but it wasn't about me. It was about these incredible women. 99% of them were women. It was about this incredible number of women who stood up and, trusted me with, supporting them and do this thing together. And I'm very happy to be doing what we're doing and expanding it.
So the birth of my company really came from my own personal healing journey, because when I was in my early 20s, I was struggling with anxiety and depression and PTSD and chronic illness. I had all of these mystery ailments in my body that traditional healing methods just weren't helping. And traditional healing was all that I knew. I was actually studying to be a neurosurgeon at the time, and I was receiving my degree in psychology. So traditional medicine was all that I knew. It's all that I believed in. But I was so frustrated that it really felt like all I was ever doing was trying to cope with my healing issues rather than actually healing from them. So I started to stray off into more kind of holistic and alternative approaches like hypnotherapy and yoga. And I started to get into Reiki and energy medicine. And this is where I really found kind of the meat and potatoes of healing, where I actually felt like I was unpacking the deepest layers, where I wasn't just symptom managing, I was actually healing and kind of puzzle piecing myself back together and starting to actually see results. So that's really what I'm trying to build as a name for myself in the community, is actual, provable, tangible healing, where people don't just feel discouraged the longer they're on their healing journey, but they actually have a healer that they can come to that is vetted and mentored and really highly skilled and really, really deeply gifted. And so now in the community, I've become this kind of blend of science meets spirituality, because I find that spiritual can be quite woo-woo or kind of out there, and it was so outside of my own personal comfort zone. So I know that it can be a little unpalatable for people. And so that's really what I'm striving to create, is something that feels more safe and stable to really enter into and feel that there's a trust in the particular modality, and kind of reset the standard for spiritual healing in the community. And now I've gotten to the point where so many incredibly gifted healers are reaching out to me and wanting to become a part of the network that I'm creating. So I'm really, really blessed and excited to create this platform and help to expand more of spiritual healing.
For me, 10 years ago is when I got into the fitness industry, and I got in very similar to most people. I was going through a divorce. I didn't like my body, and I was going to the gym and not getting the results that I wanted to feel confident. Once I got with a trainer and realized how important it is to tap into your mental and spirituality, you needed to tap into your physical being, because a lot of us sit and we eat junk food and we eat all this stuff that poisons our body, but we don't do enough to release our body of unneeded energy and weight at times. And so once I got my body like that, I ended up becoming a personal trainer myself, never looked back. And since then, I've built for my community an all women's gym for women in San Francisco to have a safe space to lift weights without having to be pressured or overwhelmed by men and others about what they're doing and if it's correct, and to make something more body positive for women. Gyms, unfortunately, underserve women by 50%. And so on our platform, one of the biggest things we notice is 65% of our customers are women, never been to the gym, and they're not confident going to the gym. And so we, the Bright App strive to make a platform that is more inclusive for women to find providers that they can trust and that they can get the results that they pay for. And so we've been building this for quite some time, long before the pandemic. And when the pandemic happened, you got even more women who were wanted access to a trainer, just didn't want, the trainers that was offered at their local gym.
Our platform is really kind of born of seeing kind of needs with energy transparency and cost transparency here in San Diego County. And so when we started, we immediately reached out to different stakeholders in the energy and environmental space to introduce ourselves. And of course, because we're a tech startup, we also mingled with a lot of tech founders, particularly in the energy space, to kind of find out what it takes to build a platform like this from the ground up. In that, I went to UCSD here in San Diego, introduced eWallaby, because I was really interested to working with students in the area, and hired grad students to come work on the team. One of the things that's really important for us is stay in the loop with the energy and environmental developments in San Diego. And so one of the things, for example, we did was participate in the Green New Deal plan that was developed for San Diego. And we did a lot of user research by contacting people and meeting people in their homes to walk them through the platform and get feedback. And so we're really excited to work with more stakeholders here in San Diego County.
What have you done to help others rise with you?
What have I done to help others rise with me? If you take a look at our story on khoshalam.com, you'll see a beautiful painting of a bird. It's a phoenix that is not one aggressive phoenix that is rising from ashes. It's one kind, nurturing phoenix that is rising along with many others. And I think we have tried to embody that from the very beginning. And I want to say I've been blessed to have this community of mainly women doing that. We have done over this past 1 year and something, 4 months, 1 year and 4 months, we had almost 100 women rise up, do complimentary classes, do low cost classes, because they knew the pain that their community was going through. Now, this was beautiful to witness. This was beautiful to be and support them do that. And also, of course, as as most of you business women know, it is difficult to teach someone and to support them and to, in this very competitive environment, to support them to be doing this all virtually. Right? I mean, we literally build our team virtually. We've been doing all our learning virtually. So, I mean, from doing the technical class, doing the technical teaching and, providing them with all the technical support, the computer skills, and teaching them how to use the Zoom effectively if they needed a Zoom, a Vimeo account, the platform, and all of that, we have been able to provide them so that all of us rise together. Because again, this is one great immigrant family that we're doing this. And, from the beginning, we have tried to do that. And this beautiful phoenix that you might see on our page is a picture of what we have done so far.
So through my own building of my own private practice and my own career just as an entrepreneur, I know how hard it is and how much work it takes. And it's one thing to be really, really gifted at what you do, and another thing to have the business know-how. And that's what I love to do. I love the business backend. I love building the foundation. I love coaching and helping other people. And so that's really become the inspiration for Modern Alchemy, is creating this platform where I can go and find the most gifted healers and give them that platform, give them all the coaching, the training that they need to really uplift them and help them become a professional healer and be able to do this full time. Because in the industry, it's something that's so challenging, and people talk about all the time. To think of a full-time Reiki master used to be pretty silly to think about, because it's just such a difficult industry to kind of make it in. But that's really what I'm trying to create and help uplift and find the most gifted healers that have such a raw ability that this is their purpose, this is their dharma. They just need someone to give them kind of the container for them to grow as a healer and be able to help people and just walk in and do the healing work and not have to worry about anything else.
So when I think of raising others, especially women in our community, Bunny Barbell Club, which I started for all women, we brought up so many athletes, over 250, to compete in powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting competitions. We even have women who've competed in national, regional, and world. And part of that is letting these women know that you can be strong mentally and physically just the same as men, and also encouraging them to ask for the raises that they deserve in the positions that they are in tech companies. Most of the women and men we serve are in tech companies, and they are all in Silicon Valley. And one of the biggest things I learned that community lacked up there is spaces for women to be confident and strong physically and mentally. And so we spent a lot of time encouraging women to push one more rep, do one more push-up, do one more squat. And the same way in your business attitude, like go ask for that raise, go take that vacation that you need, and the encouragement so that these women, who run departments in really big companies deserve.
This is a topic I'm personally really passionate about, as probably a lot of people know. Women are quite underrepresented in the tech space and also in the energy space. And I'm really excited to say, since starting Ewallaby, I've had many really smart women working on a project. The first who started working with me, and when I reached out to her, she was doing her MBA at Duke. She decided to make her master project of her MBA a business plan for Ewallaby and presented it last year, the public conference, pandemic style, on Zoom. And after she got a job offer with Tesla, where she's working right now, that's really exciting. And at the moment, I have several women working on a team in a data science capacity, an engineer, and working in user research. And I don't believe in just, making people do their task, but really work together and make them go through kind of the ups and downs of working a platform together. And because I want them to, develop greater skill sets, but also encourage them that they can do it themselves. Like, what does it take? You can take these next steps and build platforms too.
Talk about the impact that your business has had on the community.
I think if I were to divide it up, it'd be three different areas. One, as I talked already about the impact these teachers had on the families, about 100 people already risen up to this opportunity, and they have trained and taught, fun classes to these children and adults. And it's over 4,000 hours of learning and, education. So that's one thing. And I think I talked to you about in text and emails that I got from their families and about how supported they felt during this time. But the second part of it is about helping these immigrant women build and expand their businesses and their networks and feel capable and confident again. while they have left the big chunk of themselves back home. I have many women in the team that they have taught for over 20 years. I have a Farsi teacher who taught for over 20 years, and once she migrated here 5 years ago, that stopped. I mean, you could imagine what can be done to a teacher if you take them away from their students, right? And she's doing her credentials. She want to be a teacher again, but we are able to connect her with the students again. And for 4 months, she was doing the classes for free. I saw how she was making stories to make them engaging, and taking the name of the students to make sure that they feel like excited and they come back. And this was free. And then afterwards, she charged them like $5 an hour. I knew her time worth it a lot more, but it was connecting her with her passion that was very rewarding, for at my end, and for her to see her children again back on the Zoom and in the class environment that it was. And because in her mind and in her training, she was a very capable teacher, right? So this was the second aspect of it. Now, the third one, which is hidden, I never talked about it anywhere else, is the fact that these teachers could stay home with their children. Immigrants, they have to work multiple jobs to make ends meet. And a lot of times this means exposing their children to harms, right? I mean, both physically and mentally. Besides this great thing that I'm doing, I'm a podcaster and I share immigrant stories. And one of my episodes, I think it was episode 32, someone talked about how prevalent it is for children of immigrants to be molested and raped, and because the parents are out working. So I think I've never talked about it because this is the hidden part of it, but it's very meaningful for me to know that parents would stay because of our platform, at home and take care of their children by themselves. And if we can save one child, I think we've been successful and we did our mission. So these three things are what gets me up and gets me going. And despite all the struggles that all of starting and building a business during the pandemic entails.
I really feel like we've had a major impact on the spiritual industry in general. Modern Alchemy is inspiring other professional healers to step their game up and to really reach to higher standards. I also feel like we've had a major impact on the healers themselves, because there's so many gifted healers out there that just know they're destined to help others, but have no idea where to start or how to start. So Modern Alchemy's really created that first step for them into their own professional private practice. And the people, our company really has a grounded spiritual approach. And I find that fusing science with spirituality has allowed it to be a little bit of an easier step for people who are new to energy work or new to spiritual healing, or maybe people who aren't spiritual or religious in any way. And it's really allowed a safer space for people to be willing to even just try it and see the magic for themselves.
So because our platform is a two-sided marketplace, we serve as a back office to personal trainers, but we also serve as a service to consumers. So I have two short stories of the impact that we are bringing for our community. And on one side, we have over 2,000 providers making income during a time when all trainers worldwide lost their jobs and couldn't, pay their bills or take care of their children. And they had to move away from very large metro cities because they live paycheck to paycheck. We enabled something for them where they can work anywhere they have a phone and the internet. And so we have hundreds of providers making more than they made in 1 year at a big box gym than they're making in 8 months on our app. And so that's huge, because now these providers are not only able to pay bills, but buy cars and homes, things that, fitness providers could never have access to, even if they worked for themselves. It's really complicated for them to have a system in place to go to a bank and get a loan for those things. But our app enabled that for them. And then for the community, especially the community of women who are underserved by big box gyms, they're able to not only lose weight or gain muscle or get stronger, but they're able to change their appearance at home and be with their children or their families. And they're able to still work and feel confident when they're doing Zoom meetings. Because as you know, when you're looking at yourself every day, your appearance starts to matter to you. And a lot of women just needed a safer space to work with a provider they could trust to say, hey, I really want to change the way my arms look on camera or the way my cheeks look on camera. And we're able to do that. And so we have consumers who are not only satisfied with their providers, but we have a 97% satisfaction rate. People are happy with the providers we've matched them with. And we've matched people who have certain illnesses to providers who only focus on those illnesses, which is never been a thing before.
I'm excited to say that we launched our platform, and the platform is currently focusing on helping people save money on their energy bills, and in particular help people save money on the energy bills when you go green. Something we've done a lot of research about is when we started that when people stay on default rates with the utility provider and don't pick kind of the energy rates that's most optimal for them, they often leave hundreds of dollars on the table, and we've seen average of $600, and that's quite concerning. One of the things, of course, when we want to fight climate change, we want to make sure that the money is not spent kind of without making an impact. So that money would be so much better spent by applying or buying new energy efficiency appliances, and that of course would help the environment. So that's really important for us with the impact we're striving for. One thing that we integrated in the platform and thought it's extremely important is that we give a very big emphasis on discounted rates, because before the pandemic, and especially during the pandemic, a lot of people were and are still struggling with paying rents and paying energy bills. So it's very important to have very good transparency about how much money you can save from switching to different energy rates, and because it can really affect your livelihood. And going forward, another, I think, exciting impact we're looking for is integrating the energy rates of the new community choice aggregator that are bringing up in San Diego County and of course elsewhere in California, to help people really understand kind of the full picture of how green are your resources and how much money are you going to save, and just be very smart about your energy costs when you go green.
And give us a fun fact about you, something perhaps that most people don't know.
So you already know about Roshana. You already know about my podcast. What you don't know is that I'm also a career coach and for immigrant and minority. But my background is completely different, science. And when I pivoted from science to, what I'm doing now, I started doing art to figure out what is it that I'm truly passionate about. And that art is Tazhib, an Iranian art. And it's that basically, but in a very, very small sizes. I mean, this art that is behind me is something that you would do it maybe in a 1 centimeter, scale. So I'm making it much bigger because that art is really what made the transformation that happened to me. So I'm doing all of those works. And when I get to this, I tell people, you really need to leave me alone when this work is expanding. And let me show you, this is how big this is. And And this is when I get my peace of mind. I listen to music, I do this, and it just brings that creativity and that calmness to me.
Fun fact about me was actually how I got into this industry and started my career. As I mentioned before, I was on the kind of traditional Western medical path, and I was studying to be a neurosurgeon. And at the time, I grew up Catholic, and at the time I'd gone through so much and just really disagreed with Catholicism for a lot of personal reasons, and had actually become quite atheist because I didn't realize that there was a difference between religion and spirituality. And that too is kind of unsuspecting that a spiritual healer would have been atheist at some point in her life. But also when I was going through that kind of phase of just complete disconnect from spirit, disconnect from the divine, whatever you want to call it, I went to a psychic, which is so out of just my realm of being very scientific, very technological, very grounded, but just got this insane calling to go see a psychic. And she was actually who told me my career. She said she saw me doing this in essence. And at the time, I had 6 different part-time jobs. I was a professional dancer. I was a yoga instructor. I was a bartender. I was babysitting. I was dog sitting. I was doing all these little things. And I went in with that intention of which door do I follow? I have my foot in so many different doors. I just don't know which one to do. And it was such a shock to me that she said, none of them, none of them are the right path for you. This is what I see you doing. And that really opened up my mind to a lot because she read my life to me like it was an autobiography that I had written. So it really started to open my mind to a lot more and started this entire path for me.
Fun fact, I used to cater vegan meals to people for fun. I'd create cocktail menus and I would create food from scratch. And I would go around San Francisco charging by the hour, making vegan parties. So it's fun because I obviously not a vegan now, but for the longest time I was a vegetarian and I was a vegan for a while. My kids were vegan for quite some time, mostly because they're just allergic to a lot of things that they just couldn't eat. No longer have that issue, but they were. And so I just embraced veganism at one point and I just started making a career out of it, being a caterer who catered vegan food in San Francisco. It's fun.
I love it. That's awesome. And Marissa, what brought you from the Bay Area to San Diego recently?
The space. So I'm born native in San Francisco. I love it, love it, love it. But there's more space down here. My kids are active. They're heavy in soccer and soccer teams are better down here, especially if they want to be scouted as they get older. And the Bay Area just wasn't family friendly anymore. And I have 3 boys, so I have a party in my house.
Yeah, probably you may have noticed that our business name eWallaby has an Australian animal in it, and probably there's a little backstory to it. When I was 18 years old, I went on a 1-year solo backpacking trip through Australia and had a lot of jobs to support my travels at the time. And one of the jobs was working on a sheep station in the middle of the outback during a pretty hot season. And at the time, Australia was facing the worst drought in 100 years. And I got to firsthand experience all the impacts that it had on the environment, animals, and the livelihood of farmers. And I think that really got me motivated to work in this field, kind of continue working in the energy field. Probably another passion of mine that I re-picked up during the pandemic, and I think everybody probably started a new hobby or found old hobbies. For me, it was playing the concert flute after 20 years again. I'm really excited about and help kind of balance working on a platform. That's a good outlet.
Thank you for watching the Rising Star Panel. Don't forget to go to bravaawards.org and vote today.